All right, looks like we're going to start, I guess, late and early at the same time because it was originally supposed to start at 1, but I actually took a lot longer to feed the cats than normal outside, so I apologize for that. So I thought it'd be done by 1:30, and it's about 1:15, so right in the middle. So I'm both late and early at the same time. But regardless of that, if you are here either watching live or watching later on, that's all I care about. So welcome to my channel. My name is Chris, and this is We Love Comics. And I have a deal that I actually, did I win it in an auction? Hold on, let me check. Give me a second. All right. No, it was actually a best offer that I made. Okay. Good. But this is a key comic. I'm not sure if this is Copper Age or Modern Age. It's probably borderline on both. But this one, from what I saw from the pictures when I bought it on eBay, looks pretty high grade. I mean, you're talking 9.4 to 9.8 potential. Now, I always say potential because you never know. There could be something on page 27 that is not going to be seen in the pictures. And not for nothing, and I don't think anybody does this, including the grading companies. I don't think anybody ever inspects every single page with a fine-tooth comb. So there's always going to be something somebody misses. But even if it's a 9.4 or a 9.2, I think I did, or going to do, very well on this. And it was another one where it was just listed. I made an offer, and without going back and forth, they actually accepted my initial offer. So very happy about that. So as you can see with my AI art, and by the way, if anybody ever wants to critique it, either, you know, positively or negatively, I'll leave that up to you. Just put it in the comments section. You could do it live if you're here in the live chat, or you could do it later on. I love reading people's comments. It helps my channel grow with more interaction. So I'd really like to have a goal of at least 5 comments, because my normal videos have about three comments, usually 2 of them from the same person, which I'm very grateful for those people to do it. But if you want to help my channel out, if you care about that, the more you comment, the more chances of it getting recommended. So I ask for your participation if that's something you want to do. But if you look on the screen as it's scrolling by, you'll see comics like Amazing Fantasy 15, Batman 2, Wonder Woman 1, and a whole bunch of others that are key books that at this time I do not have the finances to be able to purchase with cash. But I want to show my subscribers that I will not give up. I've been trying this since November of last year, where I'm trying to acquire one of these via trade. I did a video back in November of last year. I'm going to do an update video soon, probably this week, of a whole bunch of comics I would be willing to trade for any or all of these comics. I'm looking for a fair trade where both parties are equal. Or, you know what, I don't mind giving a little bit extra. But I got to be, you know, if I'm going to do a trade, it's got to be something where I'm happy with the trade and the person's happy with the trade. But the reason I want to do a trade is, first of all, you don't have to pay taxes. Second of all, you don't have the government sneaking in and putting their hand out and saying, hey, where's my piece of what you two are doing? In other words, you know, stealing money that they don't deserve. It's perfectly legal and tax-free to do trades. So it's a way to show people that it may take some time, which you could see here. It's getting close to almost a year in a few months. But if you don't give up, and even if it only happens once, you can acquire something that you didn't think you would have the money for. So the one thing I want to try and change people's mindset of is stop thinking, oh, I can't afford that, or I'll never be able to get that. Well, you're going to make that become truth. So to me, I would rather make the attempt and fail hundreds of times, because I've only had one person that wanted to do a trade in that 7 or 8 months at this point. And it may take 7 or 8 months before I get the next one. But if it takes 4 years and I am able to acquire, like, for example, Amazing Fantasy 15 via a trade of comics that I have duplicates of, it'll be worth it. You know, it's like dating 30, 40 different people and then all of a sudden finding your soulmate. You don't care about the numbers. You care about the quality. And that's why, even though I'll never get hundreds of views, I appreciate the 7 people that are watching right now. And usually as soon as I say that, somebody, you know, exit the conversation, which is perfectly fine. But I got a new thing I want to show you guys for my Patreon members. I just made this the other day. And I want to give a special shout out because my Patreon showed that for the longest time I only had one Patreon member. But I went on it yesterday, and there were 2 others that I thought were new, but have actually been Patreon members for, one of them for a year, one for like 2 years. And it never gave me any notification. So what I want to do is, and you could see here, I made this now. It's a thing I'm going to do from now on. So if you want to be a Patreon member of mine, you could look in the live chat right there. I put it in the live chat. Or it's in the description, or you could see it on this image that I did. You can go to patreon.com/WeLoveComics, and you could do the minimum amount per month. Now, I thought it was $1, but it's actually $2. So that's not me making, you know, trying to change anything and doubling my profit. But I think that's what it is minimum-wise for Patreon, is a $2. But what I'm saying is it doesn't matter the amount that you put, that I am from this point forward, as long as you're a Patreon member, I will list your name as a shout out and do a shout out every single video I do. And if you want to do like what the last person does and have me instead of just their first name, because like, for example, if Charlie Brown joined my Patreon, I'm not going to give a shout out to Charlie Brown because I don't want to give out their full, you know, the full name and personal information. So I'll just say Charlie. But if you would, instead of me just doing your first name, if you'd prefer me to do a link to one of your social networks, a YouTube channel or an eBay store or an Amazon store instead, I'll do that. So you'll basically be getting advertisement for as little as $2 a month. So I did this new thing where people could see it for themselves. But I want to do a special thing for Kevin W. and James R. They have been Patreon members of mine. One of them for about a year, the other one for about 2 years. And Patreon never notified me about it. And that upsets me a little bit because I would never want them to think I missed out on them or purposely didn't mention their names. So for the month of June, Kevin and James, if you're listening, you will automatically be the surprise subscriber shout-outs. Now, of course, I'll pick 2 at the end that are in the live chat. But you both will be, every day for this month of June, allowed to put a link to any of your social network, YouTube channel, or sales, eBay stores, or whatever that you want every day in every video that I make in the comment section. As long as it's something suitable for all ages. In other words, I'm not going to do a prank channel or, you know, pornography or something like that, or murdering of animals, you know what I mean. But something that could be for all audiences. So for Kevin W. and James R., both of you for this month of June, because of that error on Patreon's behalf, I want to make it up to you guys as a thank you that every day I make a video, you guys can post a link to something. And as long as it's approved for all ages, I have no problem doing it. So let's give a shout out to my Patreon members. We got Carl, we got Sith, we got Scott, we got Michael B. And again, I'm going to give a shout out, special shout out to Kevin W. and James R. And then last but not least, and the reason I put him last is because he's the only one so far that said that they would prefer it if I mentioned their Instagram account. So if you go to silveragedsurfer_comics, and now you could see, based on what I typed, you could see what the underscore is if you weren't familiar with what that was. You could reach him at Instagram, and he messages me every single time he gets a new person. And he said yesterday he actually got 2 people. So if you have Instagram and you sign up for and follow him at silveragedsurfer_comics, tell him We Love Comics sent you. Because it's making his day. It's making him very happy. So 1 or 2 people may not seem like a big deal to you, but it is for him. So let's do something positive. Let's show this quote-unquote community what a real community is all about. Because it doesn't cost you anything to go to his Instagram. And like I said, any of the other Patreon members, if you want me to do the same thing that Silver Age Surfer requested, just message me at peacefulfeelings@yahoo.com, and I will do that for you from now on. So until then, I want to at least acknowledge them with the thank you, because my Patreon, I do not believe in paying for extra content. Everything that I have ever taught people with my advice, my experience, my information, my inside information that I got, I have on this channel freely for you to see without paying extra money. My Patreon is for people who just want to help support my channel and help with the cats that I feed, between 15 and 20 some odd cats on every day, twice a day, since basically end of 2019. Help pay for hospital bills, which, by the way, in case it goes too long, at 4:30 I have to bring one of the outside cats to the vet because it's having respiratory problems. So again, that comes out of my wife and I's funds, and anybody with the PayPal, with the Patreon, definitely helps. And it also allows me to continue to do the PGX grading, which I did a video yesterday, so I hope you'll check that out. So let's put on the video camera and join the live chat. Even if you're not a subscriber, I always do at the end of the video a surprise subscriber shout out. Like I said, you don't have to be a subscription holder unless you want to be. So if you want to hit subscribe, great. If not, it doesn't matter, because I'm not going to check anyway. But all you have to do is, while the chat is going and while it's live, at the end of the video, I will pick 2 people to be today's surprise subscriber shout out. And if you want to know what that entails, just wait until the end. So if you comment once and I notice, especially if you're somebody I haven't recognized before, you will get that shout out. Otherwise, I'll just randomly pick somebody. So that's that. So what I want you guys to participate in this time, and you could do this even if you're watching this later on when it's no longer live, you could pause the video. I'm going to do the unboxing, because here is the box, and tell you what the significance is. And before I do the price, I am going to ask you, what would be the maximum you would have paid for this book if you saw it listed? And like I said, it did have a best offer. So I would love to hear what the highest amount that somebody would pay for this book. Now, like I said, I'm going to check it. Okay, it's in there. I for the size of the book, I actually did not think this box would be big enough, and I thought, all right, maybe did I get scammed? But it didn't. So they didn't put any cardboard, but they did put some, some cushioning, some bubble wrap, but that's not really going to help a comic. All right, so this looks really good. This, just by looking at it, now obviously I'm not going to base it just on the entire thing based on looking at the front, but this looks high grade. When this person said between 9.4 and 9.8, they're not kidding. Now this has a lot of black in it, and I do not see one spine tick. The edges are all sharp except one tiny little bit that could be pressed out, and the corners are pinpoint sharp. Luke says I'm going to guess 300 before you inbox. Even a broken clock is right at least twice a day, so I got a chance. That depends. If you're Generation Z or Generation A, you don't know what a regular clock is with an actual handle. So that may not work anymore. But Luke, you just showed your age. You're closer to me than them. But yeah, that's a saying that doesn't really hold much water these days with today's modern clocks, because you don't see cell phones when they break blinking 12. So even if you use the digital like a VCR, how many families never knew how to set the clock, or if there was a power outage, never just bothered to reset it, so it would constantly blink 12. But I feel you on that one, Luke. But let's show you what the comic is, and then you can make another guess from there. Now, this legitimately looks between a 9.4 and a 9.8, because like I said, the one little quote-unquote defect I see is just a little bit of, it looks like somebody maybe took a finger and opened the cover, and it bent it a little bit, but it did not break color. So a pressing could help this book. Okay, let's show the book. We have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles nipple. We don't have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles nipples. That would be definitely an interesting comic. So it is definitely not that. So if you're watching this later on, so I can know you're one of my power viewers, write discreetly the word nipple somehow in a sentence in the comments section. but do it respectfully. But this is a first print, okay, from what I've been told, and we're going to verify, because if it's a second print, it will say second print on the first page. So, again, there are no spine ticks. Now, this is not a color break, because this is a wraparound cover. So that is actually part of the artwork. And let me show you the corners. When I say sharp, especially the bottom one, which is the one that tends to get damaged the most, because when you're putting something in a bag and board, that's the first thing it could possibly bend. Not one color break increase, and that is sharp. Now, the only thing I've seen so far, and we're going to open it up, if you look right here by my finger, you could barely even see it. It's kind of bent forward just a little bit, but it does not break color. So pressing is going to help that. So I'm going to open this up and verify it's a first print. But assuming I'm right, and again, the back looks incredible. See, it's a wraparound cover. No spine ticks. So in the comments section, if you're watching this later, or in the live chat, watching it live, what would be the maximum you would have offered for this book that you would be willing to pay for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #2, which is the second appearance of the Turtles and first appearance of April O'Neil? And it is a first print, because it does not say second print on the first page. Because if it was a second or third print or whatever, it has to say it. It has off-white pages. This book looks, other than the page color, this looks beautiful. So this would minimum 9.4. But I could get up to a 9.8. Just to show. So this is a legitimate, high grade, no coupons cut, first print of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #2. So I'm going to give it a moment or two, and if you're watching this later on, pause the video, and in the comment section, tell me what would be the highest price that you would happily pay for this without saying I overspent. So I'm going to give it a minute. We got James Logan that said 800. We have SP Comics said 500. Surge said 1200. Now, to be fair, 1200 it would have to be graded for that price. But if you're comfortable with that, you know, that's an interest. That's a higher one up there. But hey, if you're feeling comfortable with it, especially if it did come back a 9.8, knock on wood, you'd be making a pretty penny. Because I have yet to get a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. I did have a second print, and I sold it years ago, which, you know, we all regret selling things early, but I made profit on it. I just didn't make what the profit would be today. But you could never go wrong with making any kind of profit. Better than losing money. And Serge says, hello, Chris, how are you today? I'm doing awesome. I actually had a nice time feeding the cats outside, have a conversation with the person, and we were talking about a bunch of stuff, and that's why I was a little bit delayed. But I'll give it another minute or two, and let me know in the comments section live or later on, when you're watching this later, pause the video and tell me what would be the highest you would pay. Now, this is not graded, but like I said, I opened it up. It is a first print. This is a clean, sharp book. Minimum 9.4, could be a 9.8, and hey, if it's sent to CGC, it could be a 10 these days. You never know, because, you know, they're doing it because they care, not to distract you from the controversies and potential illegal activities they've been doing. What would you bid? All right, so Phil said 720. Okay, so now, this is why it pays to check the newly listed books, and check repeatedly. When I'm ready, and if I have any kind of money, and I have that PayPal pay credit. So I've been able to do things like this on credit. So I will be doing an auction soon because I don't want to be late on any of my PayPal bills. But what I do is, if it takes me all day, I will go to newly listed comics, buy it now. I'll put a specific range of a dollar price, and I'll refresh literally every 10 seconds. And I found this just listed. So when you hear what the buy it now was going to be, you're going to be blown away. But they accepted my best offer right away, and this listing was up for about 15 seconds when I made the offer. Everybody that put a price would have pounced on this just for the buy it now. All right, so enough people did it. Serge said, in my lifetime, I've never seen a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic in my lifetime except for once. Well, you've seen one here now. So there you go. All right, so the original buy it now for that comic listed 10 seconds after I refreshed was $175 or best offer. So considering the lowest offer was somebody making a $300 offer before they even knew what comic I was going to show, the buy it now was $175. I did a offer of $100 and they came back and said yes, and with shipping and handling and taxes, for a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 2 between a 9.4 and a 9.8 grade first print, I paid a grand total of $112.01 for the first appearance of April O'Neil and the second ever appearance of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, unfortunately, both EGS and PGX cannot grade this book because their slabs cannot hold them. So will I ever get this graded? I don't know, because I have a lot of mixed feelings about CGC, and I'll tell you this, I am not a CGC hater. As a matter of fact, if you go back on my channel, well, you can't go all the way back because my original channel, I deleted. But my first comics I ever sent in 20 at a time, were CGC. I used to love CGC. What I don't like is any company doing the wrong thing and pretending that it's okay and trying to distract you with little trivial things that could make you a little extra money to keep your mouth quiet. I don't want to hate CGC. I don't like what they're doing to people, what they've done to people, and what people are willing to just bend over and take because they don't want it to affect their CGC collection. And this is coming from channels I even love and respect. Wrong is wrong, whether you like somebody or not. If my father was still alive and I found out, God forbid, he was a pedophile, I don't care how much I love him, I would not be thrilled with him as a human being if he was to do something that disgusting. So whether I love somebody or something or not depends on what they do in life. I'm sure somebody loved Hitler, but that didn't make him a good person or what he did right. So, to me, I'm disappointed in CGC. So I am not sure if I will ever send this to be graded with them. I would love another grading company to be able to grade these larger books. But the problem is, especially like I've talked to Daniel Patterson, the owner of PGX, and I've said several times, you know how many more people you would get if you did these? And they said for the amount that they think they would get, for the cost of what the cases would run, they said financially it just wouldn't be worth it. I beg to differ. If enough people mentioned, hey, if you did this, you'd have a bunch new money coming your way, we might be able to convince them. That depends on the people. When people stay silent, change doesn't occur. It's when people voice their opinions peacefully and through their wallet or pocketbook is when real change is made. So even ungraded, I could easily turn this around because, like I said, the person that was kidding around made $300. The lowest before that, when people saw the book, the lowest somebody said they would pay for it is $500. So if I wanted to right now Since everybody said they would pay $500 up to $1,200. If I said I'm going to do an auction right now for this book starting at $500, that means everybody would have probably placed a bid on it. So I could instantly make about a $400 profit without doing a thing. And this is why I tell people, change your mindset. Stop thinking a $1,000 book is out of your price range, or you'll never be able to acquire it, because then you'll never search for it. I didn't search for that book. Notice how I didn't say I went to newly listed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle first print books. I went to newly listed comics, and this showed up. And how many times... Oh, and this is good. James said CBCS started to do magazines last year. Well, the thing about CBCS is I don't know what their track record is as far as returning stuff anymore and how long it takes, but they don't have a good track record either when it comes to keeping their time limits to a maximum of 3 months over, shall we say. But I would definitely do CBCS over CGC these days. So I'll have to check into it. But every single person that said they would be willing to pay between $500 and $1,200 never thinks that one day somebody might list a book that they just want to get rid of or know nothing about, and had it listed at $175 with a best offer, and 2 seconds literally after I made the offer of $100, they accepted it, and it was an automatic payment. Luckily, I set my automatic payments to PayPal credit. Opportunities are always out there unless you think you will never get one. But why would you do that to yourself? Why would you say, I can't, I won't, and stay negative? Look what I've gone through. Use me as an example. I have been unemployed since October of last year. I do not have welfare. I do not get government subsidies. I do not get checks in the mail. I have been able to keep myself afloat because every few months I can do an auction and sell some of my comics and make more money in the span of 24 hours than I could 4 months of working as a DJ. So I literally can work 1 day every 4 months and make the same amount as if I was working my DJ job for 4 months. You ever notice every billionaire in the world is not an employee? They are the boss. They are the owner. There is not a billionaire on the planet that is an employee of McDonald's or is a bank teller at a bank. They are the ones that opened and started the bank and own the bank. They are the ones that bought a McDonald's franchise or started the McDonald's franchise. If you want to succeed in life and not have people tell you what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and they could have you at the mercy of their finger and snap their finger and you lose your job, you, if you want to succeed in life, have to become your own boss and do what you love. So I was able to acquire this book, not out of luck, because luck would mean I'd get them every now and then. How many videos can you see? I want to talk about this to my power viewers and ultra power viewers that watch all my videos. How many videos, just since I moved here to Florida, since 2019, how many videos of mine have you seen where I did an unboxing of a key issue comic, a mega grail, or at least a super key comic that was way below the value of that comic? Like, for example, my New Mutants 98, that's in the 9 range, mid to upper 9 range, for $58. My Black Panther first appearance, Fantastic Four number 52, I won for what, $69? There are always deals out there, but you have to search for them. So I will literally, instead of working a 9-to-5 job, or I'm hating what I'm doing, and I'm sitting behind a computer and nonstop blah, 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 talking to people I don't care about and being bored and worrying about, is today the day the boss calls me and says we're letting you go, I can go 4 or 5 months, talk to you guys, make videos, go online, because, finding these books is not easy. It takes effort. My job is to find these deals, turn around and sell them. I got between a 9.4 and a 9.8 first print of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1, second appearance of the Turtles ever, first appearance of April O'Neil, for $112.01 after shipping and handling and after eBay taxes. Because I kept all day searching for things. And sometimes I literally can wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, put on a ending soonest, and it'd be 15, 16 seconds. Watch the video I did 2 or 3 days ago, where I literally woke up around 6 o'clock in the morning, looked at ending soonest, and there was 16 seconds left, and I got a steal of a deal. They are out there. Stop letting people create a negative Nancy in you, where I can't, or I won't, or it's too hard, or but this, or what about that. You are your own worst enemy. I mean, I'll give you a prime example, because Daniel Cochran, he's one of my moderators. He's bought more comics from me on my auctions than anybody else combined. And he's gotten deal after deal. And one of the few people that actually buys my auctions. It blows my mind, especially since the deals that I offer. But just the other day, he got one of his own personal Grail books. And I won't say what it is, because you'd have to go to his channel to see it, and I don't want to take away from his spotlight. So go to Daniel Cochran's channel, and Daniel, you could put a link in the live chat or in the comment section when it uploads. He had a comic book that was his own personal Grail, and I won't say what happened, but something happened to where it got damaged beyond repair. Now, he could have been Mr. Negative Nancy and say, oh, I finally got one of my own personal Grails, and it ends up getting destroyed, and woe is me, and put a gun to his head and ended his life. Somebody does that in their lifetime. But instead, because I think maybe I might have had an influence a little bit for him with some of the advice he's listened to over the years, that instead of giving up or just poo-pooing his life away, he said, you know what, I'm going to look for another deal. Ended up communicating with another seller, explained the situation, where the seller actually offered him that comic at a discounted price, and he ended up getting his personal Grail undamaged and now in his collection. Now, is that luck, or is that hard work, dedication, and not giving up? And I have a lot of respect for him for that. And if more people did that, instead of the woe is me, I'm a victim, nothing goes right mentality, you are guaranteeing the success of being a failure. That's how successful your power is, that you can become successful at being a failure. Now that you know that your failure is created by your success of wanting to become one, even if it's subconsciously, once you're aware of that, you can ask yourself this: do I want to be successful at failing? And if the answer is no, then you have to ask yourself, why are you your own worst enemy and doubting anything that you can achieve? Maybe it's because it's easier to give up because it doesn't require any effort. Or the fear of losing. You know how many comics I've made offers on that they didn't accept it? That said no? Or did not respond? Or actually emailed me saying, how dare you insult me? Do you think I care about the failures? That's like asking, let's say, a hetero male asking 100 females to go out, and every single one of them says no. If you give up from there, you're guaranteed to be single for the rest of your life. But what happens if the next day you don't give up, you try a different approach, and you think more positively, instead of going to a bar and using some cheap, stupid line that says, you know, if you and I were the alphabet, I'd put you and I together, and they roll their eyes and walk out of the bar. and you decide to approach them like a human being and maybe make some jokes or maybe do a magic trick or maybe be friendly or maybe actually involve yourself in a conversation, and that girl decides and says yes, do you think you care about the 100 that said no before? So who cares how many times you fail? One success can outweigh 1,000,000 failures. But most people will stop after one failure and say, I can't do it. Well, once you stop, you have now become successful at failing. And that's the oxymoron of how powerful you are. That you are so powerful that you can convince yourself that you're a failure and end up being successful at being a failure. I refuse to do that. And that's why I will put in the effort. That's why I will put in the knowledge. That's why I will put in the instinct that says I am going to trust that that person said it's a first print and it comes a first print. Now, if it wasn't, eBay buyer protection program. Send it back, get my money back. What do I have to lose? Michael Jordan once said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. If you want to be successful at failure, congratulations. It's an easy goal to achieve. You just got to do nothing. If you want a better life that many people claim to want, you can achieve anything. Now, I don't need to be Bill Gates and have Bill Gates' money to be successful. I love the fact that I can have an auction every 4 or 5 months and have enough to get my bills paid, or at least current, and stay at home and spend my life with my wife and my cats and my family. Even if that meant I will not find the house of my dreams, I will not be swimming in a pool on a yacht, I'm okay with that. I live on the west coast of Florida, miles from the Gulf, but within driving, to where I feel like I'm on vacation every day. Why would I need to spend money going to the Bahamas when I basically live in the Bahamas? Every day I go outside and see palm trees and beautiful weather, where in January it's 70 degrees. Make your dreams happen. And the only way to start doing that is by allowing yourself to think positive. Unless you want to be successful at being a failure. So if you think it's luck that gets me these books, then you don't understand odds. Because you can see video after video where I ask people what they would be willing to pay for a book, and I will have paid half or less on probably 90% of them. Some I'm willing to pay just below or even because I see the potential of where they're going. And sometimes you can't get the deal. But if you don't overpay, you're still ahead of the game. And that's why it frustrates me when I see multiple channels on multiple different topics, not just comics, but saying, oh, the market's going down, so that's why you should be scared. You can make money going down as much as you can going up if you buy within the dips and rises, because nothing goes straight down and nothing goes straight up. It goes like this in waves, where there'll be little waves in between those waves. So if it's going down, you buy. And then if it goes up a little bit, you sell. If it goes down again, you buy. If it goes up a little bit, you sell. If it goes down, you buy. So you notice that is a downtrend. But if there's a little rise and you time it, you make money even while it's going like this. Those that think in a bad economy you cannot succeed are people you should not be listening to. And they might be the nicest people in the world. They might have 99% of their advice something you relate to. But here's a saying I've said and I haven't said in a while. If you have 99 pounds of ice cream and you mix in 1 pound of crap, what do you have? You have 100 pounds of crap. If you want to listen to those type of people who just cannot see the positive spin of something, you want to hitch your wagon to those people? By all means, please do. I am trying to teach people there is a better way, and it's not luck. Those who think I'm lucky by getting these have no clue how things work. And is why they're probably more unlucky than they are lucky. Because if you want to base your life on luck and chance instead of you actually making it happen, surprise, you're a successful failure who will win every now and then. I lose every now and then. Look at all the graded books I sent to PGX for the past 6.5 years. I can count on one hand how many of those books I lost money on. At least at the moment, because as they say, you don't lose what you don't sell, and you don't gain what you don't sell. So you can't say, well, I spent $100 on a book and it's worth $500. That means I have a $400 profit. You only have a $400 profit if you sell it. If you have it at $500, it can continue to go up, or it can shoot right back down. And the other way, you could say, well, I bought a book at $500, and now, a year later, it's only worth $200. Well, I lost money. Well, it could rise up again, can it? Do people not know how stocks work? Do you know? Let's see how many wise and knowledgeable people are in my either live chat or watching this later. I want you to put this either in the live chat if you're watching live or in the comment section later. What time in U.S. history was the greatest time of wealth transfer? In other words, where there were more millionaires that came out of an event than any other time in U.S. history. Without looking it up, how many of you right now can put in the comment section, either live or later on in the comment section when it uploads, what time in U.S. history the most millionaires were created? Now, if you're watching this later, pause the video. If you're watching it live, I'm not going to make you sit there for an hour to think about it. Do you know that during the Great Depression, remember that thing where the stock market crashed and millions of people lost their jobs and even wealthy people committed suicide? Daniel knew it. More millionaires came out of that time period than any other time in U.S. history, unless you count in the past year or two with the greatest transfer of wealth being stolen from us. You can argue that's pretty much the same with the Wall Street because they manipulated the stocks, but I digress. The point is, if you are a person that thinks when things are going down, you give up and you can't make money, you're a successful failure. More billionaires and more millionaires came out of the Great Depression than any time except for maybe the past year or two where the government's been stealing from the people and just throwing it away all over the place. So you could say this era too. But my point is, when I see the stock market crash, I don't panic. I say that's a buying opportunity. When I see comics that were during Rovid selling for $5,000 and now I could pick it up for $1,000, I'm buying at the $1,000. Now, it might go down a little bit more, but eventually, especially if it's a key book, it will go back up again. And you turn around and sell it. Because when do most people buy it? When it's at all-time highs. When you watch the news, do they talk about when the stock market's steady? Or do they really go all out when they say, oh, Dow Jones just hit a new record high? And what does that do? Get people of the FOMO, fear of missing out. Get rid of fear if you want to be successful. Because smart people utilize and take advantage of your ignorance, willfully ignorant or not, your trust in these corrupt people to mislead you, take advantage of you, and steal from you without literally going into your pocket, because you'll be dumb enough to give it away, because you'll believe these liars. And that is why, if you write the word believe, straight in the middle is the word lie. Because whether you believe in something or you don't believe in something, you both have something in common. Neither of you know. So, if you want to succeed in life, stop following even the friendliest, kindliest person in the world. Because even they can give you wrong or misleading information. And I'm not saying purposely. There may be many people that honestly, legitimately think that when prices go down, that's a scary time to invest. That is the best time to invest. It is not buy high and sell low. It is buy low and sell high. And even with the dips, if you can't make money, you don't know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't be trying to make money that way. But many people will do it because they'll listen to people who have fancy videos, who may present themselves very well, who'll tell you everything that you need to hear, who will overlook things that are wrong because it keeps their investments in higher value. They're going to be misleading you, even if it's not intentionally. But in the end, who suffers, them or you? They're getting all the views, they're getting all the advertisement, they're getting people to buy their books by the hundreds, by the thousands. You think they care if some unknown person that they'll never hear from or never read a comment from loses everything based on their information? And that's why I tell people all the time, don't even listen to me without your own verification, because I may never lie to you, but I can get things wrong, or things can change that I didn't see. And I always tell people to do your own research, trust your own instincts. But that takes effort. So, the slogan today is, stop being a success at being a failure. And once you realize that and see it from that perspective, you will at least give yourself the opportunity to make a choice of whether you want to continue that route or not. If you're in denial, you're not helping yourself. If you're starving to death and you convince yourself, oh, I'm not really starving, I'm fine, I'm powerful, I'll live forever, you're in denial. Do you think that's going to help you if you don't eat? You're going to die. So what good is denying yourself? Is it anything positive? You know, ignore your teeth. They'll go away. Is that a good thing? So, 20 people are watching. I appreciate the 20, whether they're here to think, oh, here he goes on his ridiculous rants again, or 20 people say, you know what? This guy makes a lot of sense. And I might not like him for some reason, and he may not have the fanciest videos, and he may not edit everything so it looks perfect and puts on a fake facade to trick you and mislead you. But what he's saying holds water to me. And you utilize some of that to better your life and change your life in a more positive direction, that's what matters to me. Quality over quantity. Would I love 1 million subscribers? Hell yeah. I have 7 Patreon members. Would I love 100? Hell yeah. But if I don't get them, I'm not going to cry every night. I'm going to be grateful for the few people that have the choice to do anything they want today. And they choose to listen to me, even if but for a moment. Some people are my power viewers who watch a video from beginning to end. And some are my power viewers who every video they click on, they watch from beginning to end. And you will see the same people in my chat over and over again with a few new people or people that come in when they can. I appreciate whatever you do, as long as it's the right thing. But you have to remember, is the right thing for you the right thing for humanity? Because I'm sure Adolf Hitler thought what he was doing was good for his version of humanity. Was it? As they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so is righteousness. And that's why, if you even relate it to comic books, how many people that end up being villains base it on their being wronged, to the point where they've been hurt so much that they feel they have to do something. Look at Magneto. Magneto, as a child during World War II, was taken away from the Nazis, separated from his parents, and put in an imprisonment camp to be murdered. He spent his early childhood and the majority of his adulthood of people being so afraid of mutants they wanted to end them and control them. So put yourself in Magneto's position. Would you see humanity in the same way if everything that you are is hated? I mean, how many people think twice when they, for example, eat a steak? Now, pretend you're the cow and you had a form of consciousness. What do you think if a cow had consciousness and the ability to think? Would cows view humans as friendly or the bad guy? It's all perspective. Be very careful what wagon you attach your horse to, because they may seem righteous. They may have followers that agree with their righteousness. Because remember, Adolf Hitler could not do it alone. He had believers. That is a very dangerous thing when you follow along with somebody else's ideal. At this time, I'm going to end my We Love Comics sermon. I want to thank you for being here. If you've gotten anything out of this, you can give it a thumbs up, you could leave a comment, you could thumb it down, you could do nothing. You can join my Patreon if you want to support, but like I said, and I'm going to show it once again, right here, shout out to all my Patreon members. All 7 of you are amazing. And if you want to be on this list and you want to shout out every video, all you have to do is join my Patreon with no minimum. Like I said, I thought the minimum was $1. It's actually $2. So if you want to do the minimum, I'll still do it. Because it's my way of showing that I appreciate the very few that take some part of their day and spend a little bit of it with me. And if you can get information here that you couldn't pay for at a sermon or at a getaway vacation or some seminar, and you think this is worth it, aren't you glad you didn't have to pay on Patreon to get it? Doesn't mean you have to agree with everything. Doesn't mean you have to like everything. I'm just saying, think for yourself and stop being your own worst enemy and saying you can't, or it's too hard, or it's impossible, or I'll never. When you say those words, you create them into existence. And they become your truth, even if you don't want them. You know, you ever see, like, the Dungeons and Dragons, either the game or cartoon or the movies? What do the magicians do? They cast spells. How do they cast spells? By verbal communication. In other words, the words are the energy that creates the spell, that manifests the reality that they wanted to conjure. So it's irrelevant what you feel if you don't listen to it. It's irrelevant what you think if you don't listen to it. What you say is what manifests. So why would you want to manifest the very thing you claim to not want? You need to ask yourself that question and not be afraid to find out the answer. So if you want to take the time and leave a comment and let me know what you thought about this, please do. And you know what? 95% of this comic book channel, and especially on this video, was talking about things that were not comic related, but some of it could be used towards comics. There's a method to my madness. Notice in my live video, I had no script. I don't plan my events. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. So I was able to manifest almost an hour's worth of a conversation just by speaking at that moment, living in the moment. There is no yesterday, there is no tomorrow, there is only now. If you live in the now, think about how peaceful you are right now. Is there a war going on around you? Are there birds falling from the sky around you? Is there a nuclear weapon exploding around you? Or is everything peaceful? If you want to be in peace, live in the moment, live in the now. You want to get comics that you never thought you could get? Stop thinking you could never get them. I will get one of these comics that you are seeing now on the screen, scrolling by. It may take me another year. It may take me 5 years. But I will get one at the very minimum. Not because I'm lucky, it's because I chose to not give up. And I had my first attempt the other day, which didn't work out, unfortunately, because the person just wanted way too much, and they did a very unfair comparison of 2 graded comics for a price, which, you know, they have every right to do, and I'm not going to call them out or anything, because they contacted me, and I think it was very nice of them to do, but it just, for a trade to be successful, it has to be mutually beneficial. And as much as I see, this is what many people do not understand when it comes to trades or buying something. The comics that you're seeing scrolling by on the screen right now, like Amazing Fantasy 15, Batman #2, etc., etc. I would love to acquire any of these books, but I don't need to acquire them. So unless I see a deal that is fair for both parties, and even if I had to spend a little bit extra to make the other person a little bit happier, I'm okay with that. But even though I would love to get one of these comics, and even if somebody presented me with an opportunity to get one of those comics, if they are thinking that I am just going to trade my entire collection for one comic that I would love to have, never going to happen, because I don't need it. And I'll wait for hopefully a better opportunity or a more fair opportunity to come by. Now, that doesn't mean the person was evil or wrong or bad or greedy. They just saw the value of what I was willing to trade differently from what I know them to be, because I research my comics. One of the books is rarer than Batman #1, Superman #1, and Wonder Woman #1, is a 6.0 grade, and they wanted to comparison price it on a 3.0 version from a different company that graded it. That is not being equal. Now, everybody has the right to make a trade offer. Doesn't mean both parties have to accept. Now, if you're a person that wants a comic so bad and you base it on, I want it, I have to have it, then you'll do whatever it takes to make it happen, even overspend. Notice I didn't say I have to have these comics. I say I want them. So if it's not something that makes the want a necessity, then I could walk away and not regret it. You start thinking that way about any investment, think of it as, is it something I want or is it something I need? Then you will be able to make the right choices and be able to walk away, and you'll get rid of the garbage frame of fear of missing out. Who cares if you miss out? You can ask 99 girls out on a date and 99 say no. You ask one and they say yes. You don't give a crap about the 99 who said no anymore. The one will always outshine the millions who failed you. If you want to focus on the failure, that is all you'll be. A person with energy and magnetism that attracts the very thing that you don't want, because you're portraying that energy out through your words, through your thoughts, and through your feelings. Find this information on any other comic book channel, especially for free. I challenge anyone to go to any comic book channel, go on their Patreon, become their highest paid member, and tell me you can find the information I just gave you freely here. And wonder what channels do you think you should hook your wagon to? I'll leave that up to you. But you're here now. That's all I care about. Join my Patreon if you want to support my channel because you appreciate what I do. Or you want to support my ability to help stay this way so I can continue to be happy enough to make comics and make videos like this to give you back, return the favor. Hit like if you want, hit subscribe if you want, but let's do today's surprise subscriber shout-outs. If you're not a subscriber, shout-out doesn't mean I don't appreciate you. I appreciate every single person that's in the live chat right now, and every person that watches this video and maybe never leaves a comment, and maybe even hits the thumb down. Because you came to my video to thumb it down. You didn't go to somebody else's, which means you spent some energy and time with somebody you hate. That says more about that person than it does me. So let's go with Serge Henderson. And let's go with Phil Eiling. Forgive me if I say that wrong. So both of you are today's surprise subscriber shout out. If you want one every video I make, you can join my Patreon and I will make sure you are listed every time in every video. It's my way of returning the kindness that you gave to me with kindness in return. And if more people cared about kindness than profit, they would be probably 100 times more financially well off, because good deeds are often rewarded by more good deeds. So thank you so much for watching. Mighty Comics and Collectibles is here. Better late than never. I'm about to sign off. He has a great YouTube channel. He was kind enough, after I basically threatened his life, to do a shout out for my channel. I will always do a shout out for his. I don't always agree with his mindset, but that's okay. I still think he has a great channel. I'm subscribed to it. I watch his videos. And you know what? If you agree with 100% of what everybody does, you have no mind of your own. But you can disagree with people and still like and respect them. Mighty Comics and Collectibles is one of those people. There are times he says things, I want to reach through the computer screen and strangle him. And I'm sure there's many times he watches my videos and sees some of the things I say and probably wants to do the same thing. But I say it in jest, not as in anger. And I think he's got a great channel. He does a lot of hard work. But every now and then, I don't agree with what he says. Doesn't make him bad, doesn't make him wrong. Still respect the hell out of him. So Mighty Comics and Collectibles, always a shout out to you, my friend. Whether you give me one or not, whether I have to coerce you, bribe you, or threaten you to give me one, I appreciate the fact you did it, because you didn't have to. And there are times I do not agree with you, but there's many times I do. And I focus more on the similarities than the differences. Because if everybody was the same, well, then we might as well just be an AI civilization, where the robot will do the same thing over and over again. Sounds like a crappy world that I would not want to live in. So thank God for true diversity. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And don't forget, it's not you, it is not I, it is We Love Comics. Here is the link for the Patreon, if you want to join. It's in the description as well. And don't forget to have your trolls spayed or neutered. Have a wonderful day, everybody. I hope you learned something life-changing in this video. And Trade Paper Dad, welcome and goodbye.